Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to my kitchen. My name is Kelly and this is YaYa Simple Living. So I thought today for my Vlogmas post, which I'm really trying to post every day. I'm not sure if I'm going to succeed, but I'm trying. Anyway, for today's video, I thought I would do some small batch baking. Because you know, sometimes I just want to bake a couple English muffins or a couple bagels because it's just me and I don't need a whole bunch of them because they go stale or go bad before I can use them. So I'm going to work on a couple of small batch baking projects that I'm using fresh milled flour for, which I've already ground up. I did a combination of hard white wheat as well as spelt, and I think I showed you guys that in my video a couple videos ago where I did my leftover reboot. So I'm going to use that flour that I already mixed up for the week/month to see how long it lasts. And I'm going to make some small batch English muffins, some small batch bagels, and possibly either baguettes or small batch cinnamon rolls. I haven't decided yet. So if this sounds like something that would interest you, go ahead and stick around and leave me a comment down below. Let me know what kind of small batch cooking you do or what kind of small batch recipes you'd like to see me do, and I will do my best to do those. So let's get cooking. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do 1 tablespoon of butter and 120 grams of milk. And I'm going to heat that up on my stove to melt the butter and to warm up the milk. Okay. So let me get this on the stove and then we'll go on to the next step. All right, so what we need for our English muffins is, let me move my mixer out of the way here real quick. All right, so this is our flour that we milled and I put it in an airtight container so it will be good for the week. If I'm going to keep it longer than that, I should probably put it in the refrigerator, but I'm going to see what I can use. So the first thing I need is 160 grams of flour. And again, this is going to make about 4 English muffins, which is perfect. Okay. Let me close this back up. All right, and then I'm going to need a 1/4 teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon of sugar. And then I'm going to add in my milk. Oh, I don't want to add it in there. Hold on, let me put this in my... I need more counter space. All right, get that out of the way. Let me get my mixing bowl. All right, so all my dry ingredients are going in here. Okay, and then I'm going to do my milk, and my warmed milk and my melted butter is going to go in next. And then the only thing I will have left is my yeast. And I'm going to wait to do my yeast because I want to let this flour absorb some of the liquids. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get this all mixed up till it's just incorporated, and then I'm going to let it sit for about 20 minutes. scrape down the sides to make sure everything gets in there. I don't want any dry bits on the bottom of my bowl. Okay, so let me show you what we have here. All right, so this is what our dough looks like right now. I'm going to go ahead and just cover it up, and I'm going to let it sit for 20-30 minutes just for that flour. Because it's fresh milled flour, I want the fresh milled flour to absorb that water. So get all of this off. I'm going to stand this up right here for a moment. I just want to scrape the bottom to make sure there's nothing, no dry bits hiding on the bottom of my bowl. Okay, so there's what we have. I'm going to cover it up and we will wait about 20-30 minutes and then we will be back. Okay, so I've let my dough sit for about 20 minutes, covered, and I'm going to add a teaspoon of instant yeast and mix that in. And I'm going to let this go until I get a nice smooth dough, but I don't want it to be too sticky. So about probably 5 to 8 minutes. And I think I'm going to switch to my dough hook to do this. Alright, so I'm going to let it go, and we'll just let it knead for a while, and I'll be back. Okay guys, we are back, and our English muffin dough has I'm getting kind of a window pane. Alright, so I'm going to leave my English muffin dough in a bowl. Oh, let me spray my bowl here. I'm going to cover it, I'm going to put it in the bowl until it's about doubled in size. And I'm actually going to put this in my oven. I have a bread proofing setting on my oven, so I'll put that in the oven in the bread proofing setting. And then we'll be back to start our small batch bagels. Okay, so for our small batch bagels, we need 120 grams of warm water. And I'm going to add a teaspoon of honey. If I can find my teaspoon, I'll use my half teaspoon twice. Oh, let's see here. Okay, so a teaspoon is 7.1 grams. So I'm just gonna pour it in here. Perfect. Okay. And get my lid on here. Half a teaspoon of salt. Oh, okay, I doubled my salt. Oops. It's fine. I know I did that. Okay, and then I need 200 grams of flour. Okay. And this is, again, the fresh milled flour that I previously milled. It is 70% hard white wheat and 30% spelt. And again, we need 200 grams. Okay. Put that away. What I'm going to do is the same thing. Because this is fresh milled flour, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get it all mixed up. Before I add the yeast, I'm going to let it sit for about 20 minutes once it's all incorporated, just to let that flour hydrate. So I'm going to get that done, and then we'll be back once it's hydrated. Okay, we are back, and my dough has sat for about 20 minutes. Now I'm going to add in a teaspoon of instant yeast, get that incorporated, and I'm going to knead my dough for about 8 minutes. And then we will be back. Okay guys, so here is our bagel dough. I did end up kneading it by hand just because it was a little too stiff for my KitchenAid. So I'm going to go ahead, I have my window pane, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this in a bowl, cover it up. I'm going to put this in the oven on the bread proofing setting with my English muffin dough until it's about doubled in size, and then we will be back. But look how nice and smooth that is, and soft. So I will be back as soon as this has doubled in size. Okay, so we are going to work on our English muffins first. And I'm going to sprinkle cornmeal on my parchment paper. I'm going to do a good deal of cornmeal too, because I can. Okay, then I'm going to set that aside. Set my cookie sheet aside. Let me grab my dough. Okay, so our English muffin dough has doubled in size for sure. Let me okay, I'm going to put this aside. And I'm going to just press it out to about 3/4 of an inch. You know what, let me go get my measuring. Okay. Let's see how close I am. Ooh, right on. All right. And now I'm going to use, that's too big. Let me grab a cutter. Clearly I'm not prepared, as usual. As usual, let's see if this is, yep, okay. So, there's one. I'm going to put that on my tray. And here's 2. It's going to be a little funky right there, but that's okay. And let's see if I can get another one out of here. It's not sticking. Guess I'll try and do it on my hand here. This is my countertop is too smooth. And I am too lazy to go get my mat. So we're going to try this. But it's not going to be... I'm trying to do the seam down here. Okay. And I'm going to press it out to 3/4 of an inch. Right there. Okay. Okay. Okay, so we're getting 3 lovely muffins out of this small batch. Alright, so here's my English muffins. I'm going to press that one down just a little bit. And I am going to put some English muffin forms on them. But I need to butter them a little bit. So that my English muffins do not stick to the rings. Okay. Okay. And I love these English muffin rings because they help the English muffins keep their form. So now I am going to sprinkle some more cornmeal on top of them. And I am actually going to bake my English muffins. I am not going to be putting them on the frying pan just because it's easier for me to bake them. All right, now let me grab and put this on top, and then I'm going to put this on top, and this will help keep them so that they rise and they'll be flat on top. So I'm going to put this back in my oven, and I am going to let them rise a little bit until they're puffy, and then we're going to bake them. And let's see, we are going to bake them at, I do not know where my phone is for my recipe. Hold on. Alright, so I'm going to let these rise for 20 to 30 minutes until they're puffy. And then I'm going to bake them at 375. I'm going to bake them, hang on. Do 375 for 10 to 12 minutes, and then I'm going to flip them and then bake them another 5 to 6 minutes. So I will be back to show you right before I bake them. Okay, so our next small batch, our last small batch recipe is going to be small batch cinnamon rolls. So I have 120 grams of milk. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of butter, which is perfect right there. I'm going to put this in the microwave and let the butter melt in the milk. Okay, and then while that is melting, I am going to add everything to my mixing bowl. So to my mixing bowl, I need a tablespoon of sugar, an egg yolk, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, tablespoon of sugar, one egg yolk. I'll do it in here. Separate my egg. Okay. And I'm gonna need a teaspoon of instant yeast, but I'm gonna do the same thing that I do because this is fresh milled flour. I'm gonna let it absorb the water for a little bit. So let me tear this. Maybe. And I need 180 to 200 grams of flour. So I'm going to go with 180. Because I can always add more if I need it. Okay, cover this back up in my airtight container. Okay, and then let me get my milk and butter. Get everything out. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and mix all this up until it's all incorporated, and I'm going to let it sit for about 30 minutes for the fresh milled flour to absorb the liquids, and then we'll be back. Okay, so it has been about 20 minutes. I'm going to add a teaspoon of instant yeast to my cinnamon roll dough and mix that in, and then I'm going to let this knead for about 8 minutes. I just need to see if I'm going to change it to the dough hook. So let me get this all this yeast incorporated, and then I'll figure out if I'm going to change it to the dough hook. And I think I am. Let's see. All right. And again, this is just a small batch, so we're only going to make a couple cinnamon rolls. It's going to be great. All right, so let me put my dough hook on, and then I'm going to knead this for about 8 minutes. And I'll be back. Okay, so our dough has kneaded for about 20 minutes, or I'm sorry, 8 minutes, 20 minutes. And here's what it looks like. I did add a little bit of extra flour, and it is a nice soft dough. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in my bowl, and I'm just going to reuse the English muffin bowl. And then I'm going to leave this until it doubles in size, so about an hour. And in the meantime, I am heating up my oven for my English muffins, and I'm boiling the water for my bagels. So we will be back to shape our bagels and boil our bagels and put our English muffins in the oven, and we just have a lot going on. So stay tuned. Okay, guys. So we are back with our bagel dough. And I think I want to weigh this and see how much I have here. All right, so turn it on. 331 grams. And let me get a calculator and divide that by 4, I think. 331 divided by 4. So each one is going to be about 83 grams. Okay. There's 85. Close enough. Oop. Okay, there we go. Now we are going to take each one and I'm going to take my ring off. Trying to get it so that it's, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to do that. Do the same to these 3. So we're going to have 4 bagels all together. And the last one. Okay. Yeah, this one's not very good shaped. I just try and gather it on the bottom and then roll it under my hand like this. Okay, better. All right, now I'm going to take and I am going to put a hole in the middle of each one. Try and make it even. and last one. All right, so I'm going to cover these up and I'm going to let them sit for a little bit, get puffy again. And then I will bring you guys back when we are ready to boil them. And I'm getting ready to put my English muffins in the oven as well. So we're making lots of progress here. All right, guys, I will see you soon. Okay, guys, so our English muffins are ready to go in. They are puffy. And I'm going to cover them up with this. So they're going to go in 10 to 12 minutes, and then I'm going to take them out. I'm going to flip them over to do the other side and put them in for another 5 to 6 minutes. So I will show you guys when they come out. Okay, so it has been 10 minutes. I'm going to get my muffins out. Let's see where we're at. Not bad. All right, so I'm going to flip them over somehow. But that keeps getting undone. Okay. I'm going to take them out and flip them over. Let's see how we're going to do this. I know how we're going to do it. Hold on. Okay, we're going to do it this way. And we can actually take these rings off. They will come off. You might not. There's that one. This one's going to be the hard one to get off, I think. Because I buttered it, so they should come off, but I think the problem with this one is it overflowed a little bit. Okay. Okay, great. All right, so I'm gonna put that and put this back on. And I just set that down on top of my bagel, so I've probably squished them. I need more hands. I need more counter space. I need more of everything. Okay, so those are going to stay in there for another 6 to 8 minutes. So let me bring you guys back when I'm ready to do the bagels. Okay, so we are going to boil our bagels. To my water, I'm going to add a tablespoon of baking soda, and I'm going to add a tablespoon of barley malt syrup. And this is what gives, like, the New York bagels that dark color and makes them chewy and delicious. And I got barley malt syrup all over my counter, but that's okay. Trying to get it all off the spoon. Okay, that's done. I don't even know what barley malt syrup tastes like, but that's fine. Okay, let me get this cleaned up. Bring this back to a boil. And get ready to put my bagels in. Okay. And I'm going to do about a minute on each side. And I'm only going to do 2 at a time. I probably could have done more, but I didn't want to really reduce the water temperature or anything like that, so that's fine. And then once we get these out, we're going to put some toppings on them before we put them in the oven. So, oh, and I have to look and see what temperature we are baking them at. 425. So as soon as my English muffins come out, then we will increase the temperature to 425, and then these will go in shortly. And we are going to bake them 425 for 16 to 20 minutes until golden and bagely. "25 seconds left on this." I don't want it to boil over. What kind of toppings do you guys like on your bagels? Leave me a comment down below and tell me what your favorite is. I think on these I'm going to do 2 cheese and 2 everything bagel is what I'm thinking. All right. There's one. Oh, look how pretty these are. Okay. Now, these guys have to go in for a minute each. Okay, let's see. Timer, 1 minute. Start. Okay. Let me turn these over. Last minute, I put cheese on these, just shredded cheese. And as soon as these are ready, I have to get my English muffins out because that timer went off. Again, so much going on here. Let's see how they look. Ooh, not bad. Look at that. Look at how pretty they are. Perfect. Okay, so there's our English muffins. I'm going to put these over here someplace to cool off for a minute. I'm going to shoot the temperature up to 425. Okay, and that's done. Okay. And then I will do my everything bagel seasoning. And I make my own everything bagel seasoning because I can't have onions. So I make it and I just leave out the minced onion. And I add extra garlic because your girl loves garlic. No vampires are going to get me. What is that? twisting up like that. All right. Lovely. Okay, guys, so as soon as my oven preheats, these are going to go in for 16 to 22 minutes. 16 to 20 minutes, sorry. And then the only thing we have left that we're working on is we're waiting on our cinnamon roll dough to rise. But it is not, it's moving slowly. So we will get that. As soon as that finishes rising, I might move this to a little bit of a warmer spot here. I don't want it too warm though. Oh, and then once that doubles in size, we'll roll out our cinnamon rolls. And yeah, it'll be great. All right, guys, I will be back as soon as we are taking our bagels out of the oven. Okay, so our cinnamon roll dough has risen. And I'm gonna grab my rolling pin. All right, so all right. What I want to do is keep it in as much of a rectangle as I can. And I'm going to roll it out till it's about a 6 by 9 inch rectangle. Because again, remember, we're doing a small batch. So let me see, where's my, okay. So almost there. And there, okay. Okay, and then what I'm gonna do is I want each of these to be even. I'm trying to think what I want to do. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm gonna do it like this. Okay. And I need, I think I put my cutter in here. Okay. So I've scored it. And I'm just going to separate each strip. And then I will be able to put our filling on each individual strip. Okay. What is it? Okay. So, what I'm gonna, oh, let me get my pan. So I'm just gonna use this little aluminum pan. And I get these on Walmart.com. And I'm gonna spray it. So put that there. Now, I made, my filling is 2 tablespoons of softened butter, 3 tablespoons of brown sugar, and a teaspoon of cinnamon. So I am going to spread this on each individual strip to fill it. And then roll it up and put it in my pan. And what I like to do is just stretch that down a little bit. Okay. Let me grab something to wipe my hands off with. Okay, so there's one. And the sun is right in my eyes. I'm going to go ahead and spread this on all of them just to make sure that I use it all. Now you can just roll this up as a log and then cut it. I just like doing this one better, doing this way. And then what we're going to do is we are going to cover this and we're going to let it rise again until it's nice and puffy. And then bake it. Okay. Move this out of the way. And I just like to press them down a little bit. And I'm going to put it down on that side of the pan. And by kind of tucking this under, it helps the cinnamon rolls not to unravel. At least that's the thought. Okay, so I've got those and I'm going to go ahead and cover them up and we're going to wait until they get nice and puffy and then we will put them in the oven and bake them. So I will be back. Alright, so we are going to bake these at, let me see, it says we're going to let them rise until puffy, 25 to 40 minutes. And then we are going to bake them at 350 degrees for 18 to 22 minutes. So I'm going to cover these up, move them over to the stove where it's warmer so they can rise and get all this cleaned up. And then I will be back when I'll be back probably when they come out of the oven. All right. Okay, we are back and our cinnamon rolls are puffy. So I am going to go ahead and we're going to bake these again 350 degrees for 16 to 22 minutes. So I'll be back when we are taking them out of the oven and we will make our frosting for them. Alright guys, so our frosting is a tablespoon of cream cheese, a tablespoon of butter softened, and a 1/4 cup of powdered sugar, and a splash of milk if I need it. So let me mix all this up. I do not have any milk right now. Used it all. So if I need it, I will put just a splash of water in there and it'll be fine. And we want to stir this until it's nice and smooth. I'm going to taste it real quick. I think I want a little bit more powdered sugar. Ooh, or a lot more powdered sugar. It's fine, everything's fine. I think my frosting is just very yellow because of the butter that I used. So, it's very smooth at this point. Let me try it here. Okay. So now we just have to wait for our cinnamon rolls to come out of the oven. And then I will frost those and I'll show you everything that we did today in our small batch cooking. Small batch baking. Alright guys, so here is our bagels and our English muffins. Look how nice they all came out. And then we're just waiting on our cinnamon rolls. So this is great because I can just do a small batch and I don't have to like worry about freezing part of it. I have enough here for a week's worth of breakfast. And look at my English muffins. Look how tall they are. Isn't that wonderful? So excited. Then I have my cheese bagel and my everything bagel. All right, so as soon as our cinnamon rolls come out, I will bring you guys back. Okay, and here are our small batch cinnamon rolls. I'm gonna put some lovely frosting on. And some of them came unraveled, unfortunately, but that's okay. They're still gonna be delicious. All right. So there you have it. So here is all of our small batch bakes for today. Look at that. We have our bagels, our English muffins, our cinnamon rolls, and I just made a few of each. Excellent. Alright guys, so I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope that you will comment below and let me know what your favorite small batch things to bake are. And if you want to see more content like this, go ahead and be sure and subscribe to my channel. Hit the thumbs up notification in YouTube to let the algorithm know that you enjoyed the video. And don't forget to hit that bell notification so that you get notified every time I upload a new video. And I will see you guys on the next video. Bye! Thanks for watching.